And I'm black, y'all.
Listen,
And I'm
you want
black,
to hear it?
y'all.
Black
You want
y'all.
to hear
I'm
it?
black and they black and like black y'all. Yeah, let it go, Holmes. Let it fly, homie.
Wait, hear it? Here it go. Welcome to the 30th episode of Born in Trouble. I'm your host, John X. Now, bringing to you the mostest and the hostess of all of the entertainment of the business. I'm going to start this live stream right now for the 3 people that are going to listen. Maybe 300. There's got to be a more. So, fellas.
Chip.
John.
Fellas.
What's happening with you?
We're going to try this one more time. 30th episode of Born in Trouble. I'm your host, John X. And coming from parts unknown, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, the man, Mr. Brooks, who never read books.
What's going on? I tried to avoid him as much as I could until I stole that one that changed everything for me.
And when they caught him with that Playboy,
the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, right. There you go. There you go. I don't know why, Rob. It's just a natural thing with me when it comes to you. You make me a little bit nervous. Sometimes I strike out, and you don't deserve it. You haven't earned it. My apologies. We're going to start the show off.
I'm sure over the years I've earned it to some degree.
Probably
I tend to go off script.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for. See, this is true friendship, and we're going to talk on the show. Why just a little banter. And from Cleveland, or not Cleveland, from Ohio. Reggie Mr. Reggie Wood. Say what's up to
the heart of it all. The heart of it all.
The heart of it all. So deep. I'm going to come back to that one too. And of course, from Detroit, Michigan, home of City Wangs.
2896 West Grand Boulevard, Detroit, Michigan. Come down and get you some City Wangs.
City Wangs. The wings of fire, and if your house or other building that you happen to be in happens to catch on fire, you may also meet this man, Mr. Grant Wangfest.
Yes, sir. What up, though?
What up, though? So, fellas, how's everybody doing today? Is this the last show of the year?
Calendar year. True.
Yeah, man.
Not the Born in Trouble year. You got, a couple more months of that, but it's the last show of the year. We won't be back this year. So, fellas,
go
ahead.
This year flew by. I was just that's all I want to say. This year has flown the fuck by.
So, any regrets about this year? Anything you guys look forward to next year? Everything copacetic, as they would say. Is it all good? Are we looking forward to next year?
Always looking
next
forward
year.
To the future.
We've had relative peace in the world for the past at least in the United States world for the past 2 years, minus inflation, which is a bitch, and everybody's really uptight about the lack of money or the way that money is circulating these days, and that's an actual real thing. But all in all, you think it was a good year?
I would think that most people have no idea about what actual monetary policy is, and they are they're upset about the prices at Walmart being higher, but they have no idea about the flow of money and all that other stuff. It's very local. It's very retail.
Is it?
The printing of money and the ballooning of the debt, they don't care about that. The only time they care about that is when Congress is arguing about it and threatening to stop paying government workers.
Is it black people's fault? Is it? That's always like that's always
is
the
it black
first
people's
question.
fault?
Is it? Can we blame it on black people? Is it black people's fault?
I'm sure somebody thought about it.
Say again?
Did you do something, Reg, that caused this inflation as a black person? Did you do this? Grant, did you do this?
It's probably of some people that just generally hold that belief that we did.
If they weren't providing all these services to people like us, then they'd have
Right.
more money for their things.
Right. That's the
Right.
general
Think so?
comment that I've received.
Yeah, and not only that, but the more important thing is that you're not grateful for it.
Oh,
You should definitely be more grateful for it in the process.
Got to put that cherry on the top.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a senator that just shut down like poor children getting like $40 a month? In like Iowa somewhere.
Yeah, I thought I saw something on that in the last 10
Yeah,
days.
it was like in Iowa somewhere. This I'm gonna look it up real quick. This senator or governor, said it's not sustainable to give $40 a month to kids from low income families for food. It's so hey.
So we'll have them go out and get it themselves.
yeah, just go ahead and die and everything.
But-
what are we trying to bring back out of the
The
Swiss?
state can't be that lucky. The governor can't be that lucky. He's gonna have to
But
deal
he-
with them
but-
growing up to be crooks.
Here's the question. The low income families in Iowa are probably
Not black.
not colored people.
Majority of them,
not brown, not Indian, not Chinese, they probably just PWTs.
Well, here's the thing. This is when the theories on white culture really go and get tested the most is in times like this. Because what is the old adage? It's that white people rely upon each other to get by. Was that
Right.
necessarily true? Do you think that we're going to see that happen in Iowa now? Because these people are now going to be down for it. Because the majority, we're not talking like in fallacies here. We're talking realities here on this show. And the majority of people that are on welfare in the United States of America are white people.
Right.
The majority,
But they're-
numbers wise.
I don't know that there's ever been a program that was designed specifically for black folks. I think we just kind of eat off of the crumbs from whatever legislation was put out there. I mean, it could have had us in mind, but we don't benefit from it the most because I mean, we don't have enough people.
Can they preclude us? Is there a way is that what's coming down the line? I mean, I find it interesting. We talk about this. We had a whole year where Congress passed, I believe it was 2 bills during the course of the entire year, and both of them were involving aid to Israel. That's crazy. People are generally facing food insufficiency, job insufficiency, and we're talking about Simone Biles and how she picked her husband. The fact that a black man with confidence got a black woman with supreme talent and confidence. How did that happen?
What a shocking development.
Right.
You know,
Didn't
I love
Jimmy-
the fact that he said, "I'm the catch." How'd she get me?
Didn't Jimmy the Greek
Hey,
propose something on that?
Yeah. No
The
doubt.
Greek lost his job because he thought, there were certain physical attributes that we had based on breeding during slavery that made us superior and dangerous on the football field. That was the end of the Greek's career.
yeah, well, I mean, obviously, the problem is the whole dating thing with her. And like people, I think it's funny that we have all these really serious issues in this country and in this community. And what the Black community is talking about is the dude that she got married to. He's not good enough.
It's always the wizard, my
Like,
man. It's always the wizard. It's never you never look at the guy behind the curtain. Just look at this wizard right here. It's always the same.
so
We like to stick to dinner table topics or whatever they call those issues.
Right. Yeah, be it Kim Kardashian or Kanye West or, you know, whatever Stephon Diggs is wearing, whatever dress he wearing to the game. I mean, you know, all this stuff is just fodder. While they hoarding the money, you keep looking at this wizard right here and pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Go look at a Shade Room Instagram post, the average Shade Room Instagram post, or some gossip or whatever these. I don't even know what all of them are, but I hear the Shade Room, and then go look at like Black Enterprise, the number, the engagement from those posts in the comments. Right. It's not even in the same stratosphere.
That's crazy.
I was about to say, I think John just froze up on.
We lost the host.
We lost the host.
We lost him.
But are we still streaming through though? Like the two
I guess so.
Are up in the corner.
I guess so. Yeah, I see him up there. So, but yeah, I think you're right, Wood. I think you know, people engage in base kind of stuff. It's never on the lower vibration level. It's never on the higher vibration level.
I mean, I see substantive, logical, supporting evidence type arguments to daily on, you know, what rap figure was credited on some song from 1997 or something, or who the true producer was, or whether or not so-and-so actually wrote lyrics to that or not. And they have these really sophisticated, you know, statements with historical, it's just brilliant arguments about who was supposed to be on that song and who popped it. And I'm like, man, this all sounds like new information to me.
But doesn't that speak to like where we are as a people? I mean, and I'm not saying that we're in the wrong place. I'm just saying that's like our kind of wheelhouse. When you start talking about hip hop, when you start talking about sports, that's where we have, in general, we have achieved quite a bit of success in those kind of entertainment fields. So the majority of us are well engaged in those kind of subjects. Whereas, you know, on Wall Street, we probably not as successful, or at least we not as visibly successful. Let me say that. You know what I mean? Well, I'm sure we have some brilliant people, but we don't see, you know what I mean? Like Roman J. Israel, he ain't getting no pub on TV. You see what I'm saying? He making his trades and all that, like Orlando. Orlando do his thing. But Orlando ain't on TV. So don't nobody know who he is. So very few people are engaged with him.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask a question now. Music and entertainment, are we really making moves there? Are we really making up money there? Are we really controlling those industries? We just had Taraji Henson, you know, crying on the internet about her being a poor $12 million estate that she actually owns, that she's actually made from being underpaid as an actress. She feels her entire career. And of course, when it comes to a Black woman as an actress, you know, that's when you get a lot of trolls coming in and saying that $12 million to act, I'd be happy to have that. Nobody says anything about someone else making that money, about white people when they complain about making that money, but her. And by her, they felt very comfortable telling her that they'd be very happy with her making that money. But what I'm saying is that it goes to bear. are we really making the money in these industries? Because a guy like Puff is making money, a guy like Jay-Z is making money. And I saw something really interesting today, an article. It was like they were saying that or maybe it was an argument, somebody had made a claim that Puffy and Jay-Z want Kanye West because he is against the establishment of music, the music business as it exists now. And that's one of the reasons, that's one of the big fights between Kanye and all these other characters that are coming in, and they throw all these different stuff, there's all this different stuff and these ideas out there. Do we really have control of those things when someone like Liar Cohen can say, well, I don't put these artists out here because I got mouths to feed? When you're talking about gangster rap, when you're talking about the development and the art of rap music, R&B music, it's deteriorated.
So,
is that under our watch?
So here's what I would say. This 400-year head start that white people have had, even though everything is quote unquote available now, or quote unquote equal now. We have opportunities just like they have opportunities. But that 400-year head start will never allow us to own anything of any significance, because white money can always come in. Big bank take little bank. White money can always come in and take it over, regardless to what it is, even if you don't want to sell it, right? If you come up with an idea and you don't want to sell it, they can still block you from doing what you have to do, right?
Well, we saw that with BET.
Right. So I say that only to say we'll never truly make the money, right? So in this, I don't know how many $1 billion they make in the record industry, but whatever small percentage Black folks make out of that, they make way more than people that work at McDonald's, people that work at Target, people that are teachers. You know what I mean? So to us, to working people as a firefighter, I would love to be able to make whatever money Taraji is making, right? However, on Taraji's level, Taraji is not making the money that she should be making, right? So it's scalable, but we don't look at it like that. The people that you see responding to Taraji are people that are firemen, that are
they're wage workers.
Right, they're wage workers, exactly. So
Rob,
they're not making that money. So of course to them.
No, well, Rob, like you have some experience as being talent,
Yeah.
and dealing with the negotiations. How do these things work?
They got ways that they see things, man, and they attribute a value to someone's role or whatever, and that kind of, I've said this many times. People need to talk more about what they're making, because that's why, like Taraji's had situations. I forgot who it was. She was on a movie with a white woman, and this white woman actually gave up part of her pay to bring Taraji's up to get them equal.
Right.
Like, it's not an uncommon thing for them. Terrence Howard's going through it now with the producers of Hustle and Flow.
They still owe him money?
He's actually, well, no, so what they did was he got paid, I think he said he made $12,000 from Hustle and Flow. And what they did was, on the recordings in the movie, they attributed the recordings of the movie, if you watch the credits, instead of saying Terrence Howard as whatever, they just put his character's name. So the royalties, the mechanical royalties, go back to the movie studio, and that's Terrence Howard. So he didn't make a cent off those songs. Like, and
that's pretty slick.
They do in these contracts and whatever. Oh yeah, well, they believe me.
DJ.
They know how to hold on to their money. Yeah, DJ. So all the songs are recorded. Yeah. So the movie company gets the royalties, and that's it's not uncommon. Like,
why
they see you as this.
Yeah, why is it? But is it okay? Why is it normalized? Like, Like that's my whole thing. My whole issue with a lot of these things. I see these people online. There was a big thing with Dr. Umar online talking about, once again, talking about if you're with a white person, then you can't be, you're not automatically, you're not black at all because you hate yourself and everything. And my whole problem is that we make the assumption for each other as if they can possibly be true. And we allow these people to actually say these things. And because we allow them to say it, it becomes the truth. It essentially becomes the truth. What's happening with DJ? Like you said that so nonchalantly, this is how they do things and how it goes about. And we're like, and it's this is not an indictment on you whatsoever, Rob. It's like, you're speaking to the experience. That's what I asked you to do, to speak to the experience and what it actually is. But why are we so accepting of these things? You've got groups that are out there yelling at the top of their lungs for simple things like being able to walk out and wear a dress and nobody saying anything to them. But this is an actual fiscal thing where they are taking money out of your pocket, but yet black people are quiet as a mouse about it, or them casting aspersions on Taraji.
I mean, there's a lot of it is everybody wants to be in Hollywood. Everybody would be happy just to be in the picture. And so on a movie set, on a regular day on a movie set, you got Leonardo DiCaprio getting whatever he's getting. He's getting $20 million plus 2% of the, after they recoup their costs. He's getting everything. And in some of those same shots in the background, there's a guy who's making $50 for the day. Like, pay disparities exist on a movie set, just period. So the fact that they're going to pay Matt Damon, 5 times what they're going to pay Don Cheadle for a role, or Terrence Howard for a role, it just is what it is. We've always been happy and accepting. Like, people who want to perform, people who want to do movies, just want to create. A lot of times they're not coming in and going, we got to get this paperwork and these contracts right. They just want the job. They just want to do the work, and so they're easy to exploit.
I get it. I get that 100%. But when we talk in terms of pay disparity, women, you can be up in arms about pay disparity with women. You can be up in arms with pay disparity about members of the LGBTQI. You can be up in arms about immigrant pay. But when it comes to black people, it's just this thing that we're just supposed to accept that it is what it is. And we make our arguments.
I think a lot of it was us, though. I would be willing to bet a lot of the trolls who were applying to Taraji were us.
I bet.
I don't think a lot of white people care what Taraji makes. I bet
with Rob on that.
Right.
Let me throw something out though. A lot of this though is just demographics or numbers. I just saw on they had I don't know what was going on with Celine Dion. I guess she has an illness that's incurable or something, but her net worth is over $850 million as a singer, as a vocalist, performing and recording artist. But that's to her performing for the majority of this country, some 240 potential Americans. Whereas Toni Braxton also had a residency in Las Vegas. I would doubt that she's even worth 20 million, if 15. So just in sheer numbers alone, there's a certain pie there for people who come from a representative majority that us and our 13.x% of the total population, and then what we put our money behind and what we spend money on, of course Taraji's not going to get paid commensurate to her, what she feels is her ability. You got one role, she got 0.7 roles per year making our types of, making Black Hollywood movies. She might not even make a movie per year. I saw just like now with
Color Purple.
for us to get ready to get disappointed on this, some of the early thoughts on the Color Purple, the new Color Purple. We should be sweeping award season. But we put our one movie out here for the entire calendar year against all of the mainstream movies that came out. And then you sit here and hold on to some hope that our one movie is going to compete. It's foolish.
I think that so, and just to kind of circle back, Tony Braxton is worth about 16 million. So to your point, but so other than Meryl Streep, right, and the most accomplished actress out there is Viola Davis, right? She's won every award. She's done it all. She don't get close to the numbers.
Not close.
But what will be said is that she won't draw.
Right.
She
right?
can't open a picture.
Right. She won't draw. But she won't draw not because she doesn't have the talent. She won't draw simply based off of the numbers. Like, so going back to Iowa, who in Iowa is going to see The Color Purple? You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
nobody outside of Des Moines.
You may have 25%. Let's just say in Michigan, you may have 25% of the population that go see The Color Purple. Right? Let's just use that number.
But they
in
will
Iowa,
stream that bitch. They will stream
absolutely.
It.
Yeah, absolutely. But now you're talking about money on the back end.
The streaming changes the money for formula though. Like hard ticket sales equal cash in people's pocket. Streaming, that's one of the reasons why they were on strike this year. Streaming hasn't added money the same way. It doesn't enrich the artist in the same way. And even with the new deal, it's still not going to be anywhere near what it was. The type of royalties you'd get, like, hey, every time this thing appears on HBO, I get $6 or whatever. And, it's on HBO 57 times. That streaming thing is a different type of calculus. Yeah, so it's going to stream, but how much money that's going to affect the box office?
Dave Chappelle just asked everybody, or not just, but a couple years ago, asked everybody to stop watching Chappelle's show. Oh, because it was on HBO or whatever show, whatever channel it was on, Netflix or whatever, and he wasn't getting bread from it.
Yeah,
they did cut a deal with him, but the fact that they had to come back and cut a deal with him. Right. Like that's the problem.
But question though, not trying to be devil's advocate or play devil's advocate or whatever, but with Terrence Howard's particular situation, he didn't write the song. These were basically part of your script. And you just, unless you sat there and put pen to pad, you just performed it. Now, I'm not saying that he does,
even as a performer.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve anything. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve anything. But that's an interesting detail when you want to get into, and I don't know who the hell is streaming whatever that song was, Hard Out Here for a Pimp or whatever. But I guess that's my thing for us. And rushing to get into show business and rushing to get into the music business, there's kind of not the understanding that the more that you contribute to the finished results entitles you to more of however the money that's generated, the more that you actually do. But if you just show up and they tell you something and you sing it, your money might be short.
Your money's going to be shorter, but you should still get something because ultimately it's your interpretation of that that made it something.
I agree.
Like there were words on paper, and even with the same beat, cats come up with 1,000 different interpretations of the song and put emphasis in different spots and take something that everybody thinks is a surefire hit and make it mush.
Right.
I totally agree with that. I'm just saying, to me, I think it's more. I think your battle is going to be tougher for you to show what your leverage is to get what you want. you're gonna have to fight more. I feel.
Oh, he have to
Absolutely, he's
fight
gonna
because
have to
he's,
fight
you know,
more.
he's coming, 15, 20 years after the fact. So he'd have to fight, and he's got a contract, and that he agreed to, and I'm
Well,
sure somewhere in there was buried in there.
I think that's pretty smart because I mean, by waiting 15 years, then that small amount of money that he would be entitled to as a performer, it might be a little bit bigger today. It might actually be something significant, even if it's just $1 million. It could be $1 million is good for me. I'm sure it's good for tenants too, especially noting how little they pay these people. Just backtracking to a couple of things that were said. Tony Braxton, I'm not sure if she's the draw as some other people might be on in Las Vegas. I mean, I would go see her, but I don't know if she has the she's not really is she in that Whitney Houston class, or is she more like R&B?
No,
So
she's more R&B. Nobody crossed over like Whitney.
right.
Nobody has crossed over like Whitney. But I mean, she was a big R&B star, light pop star, Tony Braxton. But the assumption is, and this is the wicked game that they've sort of played with us for years, because when there's a movie featuring white people, it's for everybody, and we should all be able to understand the concepts,
Right.
or whatever. When there's a movie that features black people, well, maybe people can't relate to those characters. Tony Braxton sings like a motherfucker. Everybody
Right.
should be able to relate to what she's putting down. But she's R&B. No, that voice is golden.
No,
And she was, and in her prime, she was top shelf squad too.
Yo, listen.
I only brought Tony Braxton up for the simple fact, the through line of a Vegas residency. But that's why I said it gets down to a number situation where we're not going out to Vegas enough, and we're not buying enough of her tickets. I think they said that Celine Dion's residency was like maybe 10 to 13 years or something. She performed like 1,400 shows to generate that $860 million of net worth. So I'm saying even the price per ticket is going to be significantly different between those.
Right.
Two.
Absolutely.
And they should.
That's why I say it just comes down to sheer numbers.
She's got to
We're
fill.
always going to struggle.
Yeah, but she's only got to fill. Las Vegas Arena has probably got to fill 2,500 seats a night. Not like she's got to fill the Wells Fargo every night and get 20,000 people. Probably got to fill 2,500 seats, and out of a couple million black people, you can probably fill all this. Them reaching out for more black artists, all based on the success that Usher has had with his residency.
Right.
And she ain't gonna make Celine Dion money, but she gonna make good money.
Now
and
we
that's
got
the thing.
Wu-Tang
Like,
going out there.
Absolutely, I'll be there.
Oh, you going?
Yeah, bro. I'm going to the Super Bowl for sure. And I got my Wu tickets already. But let's jump back a little bit. So we know Jason Weaver, the young brother that was so we know his story where his mom made the decision not to take the $2 million up front and to a lot of times if you just delay the gratification, you can get a bigger piece of the pie, but you got to believe enough in you and have the means to delay the gratification. Yeah. Right. And just coming from hip hop, we know in hip hop, it ain't really no delaying gratification because we be needing it right now. You know what I'm saying?
Dudes need the bread right now, and also the culture sort of pushes you. It's youth, but a lot of that is youth. It's people who don't know anything.
Right.
Like everybody want to floss tomorrow.
Right.
I remember. I'm not gonna say his name, but I remember a dude who managed a group that we went to school with, and he was running around. His senior year, he was running around, leaving the tags on his sweaters and stuff, so everybody knew that he was rocking a Coogee sweater and how much it cost. Because everybody wants to be fly.
Yeah.
Awesome. But it's not always economically, I mean, you guys have just been like, first of all, I'd like to thank you guys for you've been so entertaining tonight. I haven't hardly had to say anything. Did y'all even recognize that I was down at one point and I left the
Well,
room?
we
Yeah, we did.
speculated about whether we were still streaming or not, and decided to push forward because we saw the little emblems in the corner. So
That was
got
great,
the stiff
man.
upper lip, and we pushed forward.
This is the easiest show that I've actually done all year. You guys have you've touched on a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about, that I wanted to actually touch on, but in different ways. So, I find that the universal mind, how it would always link you together, whether or not you have pregame or not, whether you talk about things or not, it's like it's very interesting. Because you said something when we were talking about Tony Braxton. We're talking about Tony Braxton because Wood brought her in, and so we're talking about the different environments and the different types of shows that they actually like come to. And really, Tony Braxton is a great performer. All of her songs are pretty much they're crossover. Anyone can listen to them. Anyone can enjoy a show with Tony Braxton. Right or wrong, would you guys, you can agree upon that.
In our opinion, yes.
In our opinion, yes. So, but it's interesting, like, you said the success with Usher. What white artists are they going to be that from that time frame that can really do a residency? NSYNC?
There will always
have
be
those
a white
boy
artist.
bands?
There will always be a white artist.
I understand there always will be, but
Justin Timberlake.
I can see Justin moving over.
Justin could do a residency easily.
Yeah,
He'd kill
no
it.
doubt.
Trying to think who else is residency material. What you call it? Ed Sheeran. All those people on all those voice judges, whatever. Christina Aguilera.
Katy Perry.
They're residency worthy.
Hell, you could go further back. Sting. Hell.
Oh, if Sting ever decided to do a residency, he'd kill it.
Yeah.
Like hell, I'd be one of the first people online.
Yeah, Bono. I mean, you
too.
A whole bunch of people. Yeah.
Well,
I could do a whole bunch of white artists.
Under that thought problem, that process and the premise and everything, you guys actually liking white artists, is that problematic? You like
music is vibration, man. There's no color in music. It's just vibration.
For Dr. Umar, it is.
Yeah. It's like it's these conversations. It's just like I'm just wondering about a lot of these conversations that these people are having. Just to bring it back to the beginning before I even crapped out, I'm just having a hard time like finding the new activism and activity in these young people, because the arguments that they're invested in are totally vapid. There's no substance to it whatsoever. They're more busy arguing about who's actually black. Like, yeah, serious and everything. Going after who's actually black, who isn't, who's African, who's non-African. This girl's husband is her husband a baller enough? Does he has the nerve to say that he's like a catch and have confidence? The attack on black men is real. I'm sorry. I don't think a lot of people are just want to talk about it and they don't want to have a conversation. They don't want to believe it. But the attack on black men is real. On all levels. Everything that we've talked about today has some element of attacking or discrediting black men. How did we get to this point? Seriously, how did we get to this point?
We've always been at this point. There's never been a time that we haven't been at this point.
Is it just
when wasn't an open season on black men?
It's just that the sisters aren't. I don't even think they're seeing it right now. That whole attack on Simone Biles and them. I found it like ridiculous and funny simultaneously, but it's ridiculous. This is a woman who went out and she set the standards for who she wanted in a mate. They had a conversation. People are upset because he didn't know who you were. he pretended that he didn't know who. I mean, whether he knew or whether he didn't know who she was or who she wasn't, they bonded and they connected off of that. Maybe what she's actually saying is that maybe if some of y'all wasn't an upper ass all the time and you didn't know who she was, she might like you a little bit more. She might want to spend more time with you instead. It seems to me like people are trying to set standards for everything that what she did makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect sense. She strives as an athlete. He strives as an athlete. He may not be on her level, but they were in the same types of business and understandings and everything. They share a sense of humor, and obviously they were able to get along with each other. I don't understand why it is such a big deal. These people, who are these people who told these young people to go out and give fucking dating advice? First of all, you're young as fuck, you ain't been through shit. You never experienced anything.
But young people are going through something that we didn't. Like their dating world is very different than the dating world that we went through. They're experiencing this thing in a completely different way. The proximity effect has completely been blown out. Like they're fishing in stocked lakes. They just don't have any fucking social skills. Because you should be able to close out a couple times a week with this shit. But if that's your thing. But anyway, like they're going through different shit. So they're giving experience based on what they're living. Most people don't look at their lives and go, hey, I've got these 3 roads ahead of me. I have to make a decision and pick one. Most people think that what they're doing is what they have to do.
Okay, I can understand.
There is no other road. And so they're giving advice because that's what they do. Believe me, you knew everything at 18. You were the smartest motherfucker on the planet at 18, and probably even 21, even smarter. It's not till you actually have to start paying your own bills and keeping yourself afloat that you start to go, oh, this adult shit. I thought it was cake, but this ain't. There's no book here. There's no guide. There's nobody telling me how to do this correctly. And there's 3 different choices that I can make, and they'll all be correct in the end. It just is a matter of what the end is, how you're defining the end.
See, but the difference is, but the difference is, as young people, we had the wherewithal to not try to tell other people how to do things.
We didn't have social media. Otherwise, we'd have been telling people to do shit too.
Celebrity is the drug, though. You see that's really where the rubber meets the road, is that celebrity is the drug. So it's not only the fact that Simone Biles and Jonathan Owens are celebrities. If I can get on this celebrity's thread and say something about this celebrity, maybe I'll get my 15 minutes.
Then goes viral, yeah.
And the more negative,
right? Somebody picks up my comment, and now I'm famous too.
The more negative
now I'm famous too.
The more likely your comment is to be picked up or responded to.
Right.
I think y'all explain this to me like probably at least 8 or 9 times a year. And I still ask the same question. It's like I still have to ask the same question. Like, okay, but what part don't these people understand? Don't these kids understand about? Nobody nobody can give you that answer. You have to actually walk through that fire yourself. You have to actually experience it yourself.
They don't know that.
Nobody is qualified to give you any type of, like, we could take.
They don't know that
as to what could happen, but nobody can tell you exactly what's going to happen. And just because you dislike something doesn't mean that she dislikes something.
Well, my algorithm says
no, but if everybody was like Simone Biles, we'd all be tied for the Olympic gold medal.
Right, but my algorithm says that you're supposed to think like me. My algorithm has shown me that you are supposed to think like me. You see, like that, and that's what it boils down to, is that everybody wants everybody to think like they think. But
everybody thinks they're going to be an opinion leader.
Right. You think that way because based off of your experience. My experience is totally different. X's experience is totally different. Rob, Wood, everybody's experience is totally different. So yeah, a lot of things, just as human beings, we gonna line up on, right? Probably 85% of things. Let's go to the numbers. 85% of things, just as human beings, we probably gonna line up on. But that other 15 that that's the 15 that we're gonna focus on, and not even the 10 out of the 15. We're gonna focus on the 5 that makes us the most different: skin color, money, religious beliefs, what political beliefs, whatever, those things. We're gonna focus on those more than anything because it's the easy route. So, I mean, like I said, I just think that people want to be famous. They want to be celebrities. They want to get their 15 minutes of fame. And the algorithm has taught you that the best way to do it is to say something negative about somebody.
You know, it's unfair today's younger people. And a partner, a podcaster, you know, YouTuber guy, colleague, kind of put me on to thinking about there aren't any more superstars today. There aren't any more elite, you know, and universal figures. But we didn't know what the hell Michael Jackson was doing until he wanted us to know what he was doing, until he wanted to engage with us and deliver a new album to us. You didn't see what restaurants he was at, where he was vacationing, what new animal he bought, what new trainer he's working with, and you didn't know all of this shit about Mike. You just saw when the new project was coming together, you got a 2-week heads up on the new video.
Yeah, he do a media blitz pointing everybody towards his new release.
And then he put out 3 or 4 videos. He do his tour for a year and a half or whatever, and then he disappeared. You know, and the press controlled anything until the next album. But now to just sit up and follow all of these different celebrities and see what they're doing daily and interact with them and tell them what you think, and you know, your shoes are trash, your hoodie is trash, where you get that hoodie from, we didn't have that.
Right, but the mind state has changed though based off of this tech. So
yeah.
Not everybody is a Sade who can come out with a record every 10 years and still hit the numbers, or Erykah Badu who can come out with a record every 7 years and still hit her numbers. Those things don't happen for most celebrities. Most celebrities feel like they have a short window, they have a small window, and they have to be as relevant as they can for as long as they can. And the only way to stay relevant is to be out here on social media doing whatever it is you're doing.
And you got the people who are promoting you, the management, the artist management, whatever. They're pushing you to stay relevant because that makes their job easier.
Right.
It's easier for them to throw your name in for projects and stuff when your name is out there in the zeitgeist already, instead of having to bring you up and remind people of who you are and where you've been. So they're always pushing these people to stay out there and to keep, you know, some spotlight on themselves.
That's part of the leverage, that we can show that you have some leverage because of your following and impressions, and you know, you had 300,000 people in your live for 40 minutes and all that type of stuff.
So what you guys are saying is that America is a great big fucking popularity contest where
that's it.
Where we essentially used to pride ourselves on being the quote unquote intellectual, most intelligent, most elegant, and capable in the world. And now we're just the most fucking popular.
Dude, we hired a fucking former reality television star as our last fucking president.
Right.
Like if in case you weren't aware, we had jumped the shark. You know, in 2016 when we hired a fucking reality show guy to be president. But I saw an interview
got a shot this year.
Absolutely.
Well, we had a B-list actor in the 80s, right?
Oh, we did. We had Ron Reagan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
another popularity contest.
Peanut
Jimmy
Farmer
Carter.
before that.
Jimmy Carter was a good, decent human being and a good
Right.
public servant. Like he actually believed in the greater good and everybody contributing.
Mm-hmm.
And we booted him for a fucking actor with his wife's hand stuck up his ass.
Oh, they hated him. They hated Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was the most hated president in the history of the world, and all he did was build Habitat for Humanity homes. He was still alive, and him and his wife were basically out there with a hammer and a nail.
Oh yeah, but he couldn't get them hostages home, and it's a very good chance that the Republicans helped keep him over there until, you know,
he didn't play
boy
dirty
got in
enough.
office. Look at it way. No, he did not play dirty enough. He was not willing to get down in the muck.
He didn't play dirty
He was
enough.
not about that.
Nah,
And that's what
he was a phenomenal human being in too many ways.
that was actually probably the apex of the liberal movement, quote unquote liberal, free love, peace, love, hippie movement, was President Carter being elected, because he actually represented so many good. He represented the good feeling of America, even the South. He was the Southern candidate coming out of the South after Jim Crow. This was like 12 years after the Civil Rights Act, and they had peace between both parts of the Union with Jimmy Carter being president. And white people couldn't stand it. They'll never be able to live with peace. They don't want peace as a way of life. That's not an acceptable option, where people are actually doing well, where equity is actually a thing. And people just need to come to that realization and deal with it accordingly.
I was getting ready to say, didn't Carter get in trouble for handling the gas shortage in a way that he could be attacked or something?
He did a lot of things that were right, that were wrong.
Like he tried to make it a sensible, like, let's ration this out or something, and they were like, nah, bro, you too soft.
Right.
You way too thoughtful.
He came off of that Nixon Gerald Ford kind of fiasco. So so he inherited a whole lot of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And detractors, because they were mad. Because like, it's not so much you catching me, it's the fact that you actually know. It is the catching me. It's like the consequences aren't it, but it's just simple fact that you have to drop the facade of being clean, being good, being strong, being right, being just. It's all fucked up in the game.
But can good ever win? That's really in my mind. My cousin Nass and I always had this conversation about if good can ever really beat evil. Evil is going to do anything it can. Evil will do anything it can to win. And it'll kill good if it could. Good would not kill evil. It'll just keep letting evil come back.
Yeah.
The only way good could actually win is if the soldiers for good basically got a free pass for doing everything that had to be done outside of the community. That would mean, and I guess that's what they're trying to do with Israel.
But what do we say?
I guess that's the justification for the decisions that they've made in Palestine. Is that they are the good ones. So everything that they do is actually justified. It's eradicate these people from the lands of former Palestine, now Israel. I saw something funny about that. It's just the one thing. This is the first year that they didn't actually celebrate Christmas in Israel, because they actually bombed Bethlehem. Wow. The place where they used to traditionally have the gathering, because it's an all-inclusive place where Muslims and Christians and Jews used to all come and congregate, but that's no longer allowed. That's not going to happen anymore.
Well,
you're going to need a pass
happen this year, but they say they were losing $2.5 million a day. because of the lack of tourism there.
That's
crushing.
It's not crushing for them. It's okay because the Americans, the only bills that have been passed in the United States of America are aid bills to Israel. We the American people are going to make up that gap. We're going to make that gap up. Are y'all still there?
We suckers. We suckers.
We're here. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we the suckers at all.
We don't have any defense.
Right.
Well,
we don't.
It's a representative democracy, and our representatives are being lobbied heavily by the defense industry. Loves it that we keep supplying weapons and money to Israel because they profit from it heavily.
Right.
Like there's lots of people who are engaged in the profiteering that goes along with supporting the state of Israel, and they'll put it behind a different banner, but that's what it is. It's war profiteering.
It's happened before, and it'll happen again.
Yeah, they're making money. It doesn't have to be hating Jews or hating Muslims in order to tell. It's just like the truth is just the truth. They're making mad money on it, and they're going to continue to make money on it, and that's just basically the way that's going down. Yeah, but the thing is, though, if you have this philosophical, theological idea and concept about what Christmas is and what the land is holy to you, holier than thou to you, guess what? It just skipped this year because it got bombed. And whatever. These are all things that the most popular clip that we've ever done on the show here with Born in Trouble is the clip where we posted up that with Gene when he's saying that with the way that they always say you'll be all right. Basically, we'll be all right too. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna start saying that to them. That clip from that show. That is like the most popular. It's still circulating. Like it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And
look, it's real. It's real. I mean, we know that we believe that the truth is the truth, but the truth is only the truth as long as until somebody doesn't like it. Once somebody doesn't like the truth, then is it still the truth?
To your point with good and bad, and we didn't hit on this a few weeks ago, but the one Christian rapper D1 guy, he called out Rick Ross and Meek Mill, and I don't know why he threw Jim Jones in there, but he mentioned them too. And like you said, he was trying to do this for good, and just asking brothers to kind of like be real in what their music, and what their lyrics are.
Right.
And he was deemed a clout chaser, by many. And we don't even want to hear your point. And you trying to hold these brothers' feet to the fire. You a clout chaser. And he was like, and everything that he said was he supported it with specific scripture to help him not stand on business, to stand on the good word. And this fickle generation we got, you just clout chasing, bro.
They just circle the wagons because they want to be challenged, but they want to challenge it in their way. They want them to go down, but they don't want them to go down in a righteous way. They don't want to have everything that they've done be questioned, and every decision that we've made as adults to be questioned and put out there. And someone would say the same thing that, well, weren't you involved? Didn't you? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But not to that extent, and not to. And it's like, that's not, the whole point is, what happened? You know what I'm saying? What happened to the righteous brothers? You know what I'm saying? What happened to like looking out for each other? We had this conversation, like we just said about that. Rick Ross is getting money, and he's still getting paid, and he's still bragging about getting paid. But I don't see him actually putting anybody else on to actually get money. That's all in their circle that's closed up. If you want to get that money, you can't be a clout chaser. You've got to be a devotee. And on that note,
Kiss the ring.
kiss the ring.
Or just
We
be a
gonna shut-
capitalist.
Right.
It just so happened that the New Edition movie was on again tonight, and I hate it
Yeah.
every time I see it when Michael Bivins turns around and shits on Boys to Men the same way that his management shit on him. It's the grimiest thing I've ever seen. But that's what they do in that business. Like, instead of going, I really hated it when they did that to me, I'm never going to let somebody do that again. They just rinse, wash, repeat, whatever.
Yep. Yeah. Hey. God.
I was just gonna mention. I thought about it last week. We had touched around some music subject and whatnot, but it used to be a record label called Hidden Beach. I never heard who ran that label, founded it, or whatever. But it had all the neo soul people over there, and you just didn't hear all this BS from these other labels. And I'm sure what do they say? I can't remember the saying, but it just seemed like they came in and tried to do good. Try to do real music, soulful music, thoughtful music, and people quit buying that shit.
You know what would be the craziest thing out of everything? If Kanye ended up being the most sane one out of everyone. And when I say that, it may not be untrue. He may be the most I mean, listen, he says he's already said the thing that's made him, that's put him on that blacklist. But forget about that. Is he wrong about a lot of the stuff that he's saying? Is Kanye
You saying
wrong?
is Kanye wrong?
Yeah.
Kanye's problem
Kanye is speaking his truth.
The problem, his problem now is that he can't make anything that anybody cares to listen to. Like, he can't put no hits on the radio.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, he can't get any.
That whoopty scoop, boopity doop. You heard that song? Like, clearly his filter in the studio is not sterling right now. Like, if you've never heard that song off his last album, like, and he's like hyping it too. Like, these next bars, they're gonna be the hardest bars you've ever heard. And then he starts whoopty scooping, pooping. Like, he is clearly, something
He's
has
in a
changed.
different space.
He's in a very different space, and he's not like in an Andre 3000 space.
Yeah, no. he's in a different space, but I think Kanye could put it together, because Kanye, I mean, if musical people can typically get it back.
He has to Kanye has to get somebody he trusts to help him edit.
Right. You know what I would like to see? I'm going to wrap this up. And once again, like, we're talking about all this popular culture. No, I'm not kicking you off. We can stay as long as you want. But like I was saying, man, I think what would be best for Kanye would be for him to go out and find an artist to actually compliment him right now, and get in the studio and make one of those collaborations that basically sets it off. Culturally, we all like to stay relevant forever, but it's not his time. We need it. It's like it's time to open up the doorways and the gateways and the pathways for the younger people to actually step through, if they're capable of doing so. Personally, I think they're probably miserable. Most of them are miserable fails, but guess what? There's probably one person out there, if not two or three, that have something special. And as long as evil doesn't get to them first, maybe we can do some good. So, listen, let's just wrap up the year in review real quick. It's been an evil year when it came to inflation. It's been an evil year. It's been an evil year when it comes to happiness. There's definitely evil holidays because nobody had a happy holiday anywhere. I mean, I guess some
Really?
people
I
had
did.
happy holidays
Say,
yesterday. Well,
I had
Rob,
a
you
good
ate.
holiday.
Well, I know you had a good holiday because you actually broke your vegan code and you ate some beef, didn't you, Rob? You ate beef yesterday.
I have had beef on Christmas Day. I made it every year for, probably 15 years. There may be 3 or 4 years where I didn't partake in it, even though I cooked it. But one day it's not gonna crush me.
One day it's
It
not
takes a
gonna
while to
crush you.
digest. It takes a boatload to digest, and it's a lot more finicky to cook than other stuff. But it was good, man. A little filet tenderloin wrapped in bacon, with garlic and rosemary. You're gonna do it. Do it.
So
Mhm.
Rob had a happy holiday.
Everything else was vegan though.
He's
Risotto,
got
escarole beans, the cakes, the cannolis.
well now if you were at an AA meeting, you'd be back to day one for your vegan badge. You're on day one for your vegan badge. But fellas, it's been an interesting year. It's been a tough year. And next year is going to be a little bit tougher, in my opinion. I think the rubber is going to hit the road this year, and we're going to find out exactly where we stand. I think when we get into 2025, there will be no longer any mysteries left in this world. We're
I'm just
either
happy that
going
you're
to,
using rubbers again.
yeah, well, that would be, listen, Rob, Wood, you got something to say to this guy, man? I can't.
What do you make a reference to sheepskin or something?
It's terrible. It's
It's
terrible.
not terrible. She absolved me of my sins yesterday. It's time to get back stay on the shit list.
Okay. Well, listen, man. I want to say goodnight to everybody. Thanks for listening to Boy in Trouble in 2023. And thanks for you guys making it the best show, most underrated podcast on all of the internet and net and YouTube TV. The City Wing King, Mr. Grant Lancaster, Mr. Robert
That's
Brooks
right.
from New Jersey
You know
with the
what?
good looks.
In 24, we're gonna get you to start flexing your boobies. Since we're doing the video element, you start flexing your boobies. I think that's gonna help get the traffic up.
Okay,
It's
Rob.
helpful. It's worked for The Rock. Why not you too?
Okay, Rob, I'm gonna try that. And of course,
All right.
new to the show this season, but a great addition, Mr. Reggie
Great addition.
Redwood. And
I'm just making the most of my 10 day.
yeah, a 10-day contract. He's
Yeah,
being
10 day.
over. Gene Hopkins, definitely big shout out to you this year for being a great
Yes, sir.
addition to the show. And we're going to bring it out in 2023. And next year, we're going to come to 2024 with more of the conversation that y'all like to hear, or maybe don't like to hear.
All right.
Because that's when we're at our best. Born in Trouble. Love you, brothers. See you next
Peace.
year.
Love you too, man.
Feliz
All right,
años,
peace.
año nuevos.